All right, and we're live.
Oh, wow.
Welcome back, sir. I missed you. We kind of we've done like every other week a couple times now,
Yeah.
but now life gets in the way, so it's okay.
Happened.
So refresh my memory. Last time we did this, it was 2 weeks ago. What the hell did we talk about?
Oh God, I don't know.
I know, right? No, and there's a reason why I'm asking because I know what we're talking about today ties in, and for the life of me, I don't actually remember what we did 2 weeks ago. You know what? I'm going to really quick pull it up. This is probably great podcasting 101, right? Like,
This is real life.
don't know what you're talking about. Pull it up on your Instagram. Give me a second, ladies and gentlemen.
I don't know. I'm trying to
Think.
look, and I don't know how to even search it. Like to find.
Just get started,
That's it.
right? Just get started.
That makes sense.
Now, okay, so the reason why I wanted to bring that up is because, just get started. It's stressful. It's tough, right? We talked about there's a million reasons why not to start something, but why you shouldn't just fucking do it. So today we wanted to kind of, again, similar topic, but, a little bit different, branch off a little bit of why, stress isn't necessarily a bad thing, right? Everyone thinks, oh, we have to reduce stress, avoid it at all costs, blah, blah, blah. Stress has been painted with a very negative connotation. And I don't think that people understand that, in order to grow or to... What's that?
Without it, you die.
Well, yeah, in order to grow, thrive, do anything essentially, like there needs to be a certain amount of stress or stressors in your life. So that's why today we agreed that we wanted to kind of talk about, why stress isn't a bad thing, why, stress in a good way helps you grow, improve, and so on, right?
Yep.
Awesome.
I like it.
So, just to get us rolling.
Yeah.
I did a little quick research because, we've gone through recently a recession, there's been a lot of stress with quarantining, whatever, blah, blah, blah. So I was just curious. I wanted to look into like 12, not 12, but this is the article that came up, 12 businesses that started during a recession. So just, there we go. That ties in the just start and it ties in the, all right, recession, stress, big things that have come from it. So just a couple things that we've all heard of. Netflix started during a recession. Airbnb, Trader Joe's, Microsoft, Sports Illustrated, MTV, General Electric, Warby Parker, Revlon. Actually, I had to look that up. I wasn't sure what that was. To make a makeup thing, I guess.
Stopping you real quick. Today, I just found out that there's things called gender reveal parties.
Dude, one of them burned down half of California. You just noticing about that?
I'm in a group thread, and I just found out about that today. And I'm like, wait.
You know what, though? It's because you're not on social media.
Yeah. I had no idea that was a thing. I'm like, wait, what happened to people just having babies and
finding out when the baby's born?
Family, anyways, no, continue.
Dude, it's a whole new reason to have a party and get stuff. And Kristen and I have already agreed that no, not for us. And the last one on that list, Disney, right? So the reason why. Go ahead.
No, I think it's awesome because one of the things I said at the beginning of this quarantine, and I've said before, and Christy and I talked about, is when everybody else is contracting, that's when I want to expand. When the rest, because I don't like to do what everybody else is doing. So when everybody else is contracting, I'm going to expand, and you fucking just put the throttle down, right?
Yeah, and you can gain so much ground or put that much more distance in between you and everyone else. Because if everyone else is just hunkered down, maintaining the status quo, not doing anything, receding into themselves. If you're, out there getting it, now it's every inch you get is like a foot, and every foot you get is like 10. So it's also it's at least to me, I found it reassuring to see look at these giant goddamn corporations that we all heard of, besides the one makeup one that I had to look up, that started during a recession. like during stress. And, it's just, again, it's taking that step, moving forward, and just doing it, man.
Yep, I love it. I love it. I think to tie into there, like with stress, then. So for me, I want to take stress out of my life and replace it with stress that I want. Like,
Yeah.
so I,
Well, so
like,
that's the thing, right? It's stress is painted with this overall overarching brush of negativity. All right. But it's different. There's, obviously negative stress, and there's positive stress, stress that you can grow from. And you can make the argument that some negative stress, you change your mindset, change how you look at it, you can make that into a positive stress if you learn how to, overcome and grow from it.
of course, I, I mean, it's just to me, it's like like a great example. Like I was thinking today, talking whatever
Sure.
is I am so our kitchen. I have a desk in the bedroom and all that stuff, right? Like it's kind of like a workspace, which turns into not a workspace, and then I can't always get up and use it because sometimes our daughter comes into bed and whatever. So I have made the kitchen dining room, since it's all one thing, my workspace in the morning.
Sure.
So it's a non-negotiable for me that that area is immaculately clean when I go to bed, well organized. The supplements I take in the morning are laid out with a little tablespoon and the little glass. My coffee's in the thing, ready to rock and roll. My paper for my goals is laid out right there. The next project's sitting here, and then my power list of what I'm going to do is over here. Like I now, what would happen is if I woke up for me, and I would bet everyone else once they started living this way, right? The kitchen's clean, right? Everything's
Sure.
put away. It's pristine. So now when I wake up, there's no stress. There's no any focus taken towards anything. The dishes need done. This needs put away. That needs done. Nothing. I light the candle. I sit down. Coffee brews. I drink it. Boom. Next hour and a half or whatever is mine to do and crush whatever I want to do. Right now, what I'm doing can be stressful. Right, because I want that. Right, that stress is going to make me grow, and these are all the things I want to do. But if I wake up and the coffee's not prepared, and I'm running to do the coffee, and then my contacts aren't where they're supposed to be, and then the dishes in the sink, and I start thinking about those, and I do the dishes in the sink, and then I'm like, God, the floor's pretty dirty, and then I wash the floor, and then I'm like, man, I actually don't know which 5 things I want to do today. Let me think of all the things I need to do. All these, and then 45, 50 minutes have went past, you've accomplished literally nothing of substance, right? You've wasted virtually the most important hour of your day. And
Yeah, and now you've wasted an hour and a half, and then now you have that power list of 5 things that you said you were talking about, and now maybe you're just like, oh shit, I only have time for two or three of them. So now you're missing what it is like that you set out to do originally.
So now you're stressed because you didn't get anything done. Then you're stressed because you're not going to get anything done. And then that's going to kick things to tomorrow. And then boom, 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 boom. And so this stress builds. That's not good. But you're in control of it.
Yeah.
Own it. Take that stress out of your life. Stay up 15 minutes longer. You'll be okay. Take that out so that then you can bring in stress that's going to make you grow. That's going to make your business grow. It's going to make your mindset grow. It's going to make you do things, right? And I bring up all the time, I tell everybody this. The thymus gland in your body makes T cells. That thing is literally designed that when a shit comes into your body, it gets identified and it's like pumping out cells to kick its ass, right? Okay. It starts to turn into fat when it's not used. Meaning your body makes an executive decision that's like, I use too much fucking hand sanitizer. I never leave my home. I never touch anything. I breathe through a pure oxygen mask all the time. I don't need a thymus gland. What do I need T cells for? So it literally turns it into fat. How it continues to function later in life, past 50, 60, 70, 80 years old, is because you have to be exposed to a bacteria or a virus. You are literally built. You are literally designed to deal with that stress. Is the basically point of your being to then continue to have these functions. We deem everything as bad stress when it comes to that, right? Like the situation we have right now.
Sure.
Reality is these 7 million people, if we've had 7 million people contract it, I hope we did. And that sounds so morbid, but it's true because Those 7 million people are so much healthier and stronger now because they encountered that. But that's not talked about anywhere.
No,
Anywhere.
yeah.
But that's real. That's concrete. That's fact. You've become a stronger, healthier, and more capable human being because you encountered this thing, right? That's positive stress. Kind of sucked for a little while. Could you have stacked the deck in your favor to make it better for you? You should have. I did, right? Like to where maybe instead of 2 weeks, it lasts a day, or it doesn't last at all, or you have no symptoms of it, or whatever, because your body's functioning so beautifully. But your body literally handles stress every second of every day and learns to adapt. It's good or bad based off of where you're putting it in the hierarchy in your brain of like, and where you're giving it its attention. Does that make sense?
No, absolutely. And I mean, even to go, there's always that like cliche saying, right? Whatever like doesn't break you makes you stronger, or whatever doesn't kill you makes you
Right.
stronger. And like, yes, it's a funny little cute saying that you see on, you slap on a poster and you sell it at like fish shows. But
Right.
but it's true. Like, and that's what it's saying. Like every stressor that's out there, whether it be bacteria, a virus, some sort of stressor, and we've talked about this when it comes to like strength training and stuff. Like the stronger you are, the better you are at handling, outside
Right.
stresses. You trip
Right.
and fall. You trip and fall. Maybe you don't break your wrist, right? You fall and you're
Right.
able to absorb it because you're stronger and you can handle that kind of stuff. But that's again, and that's all, and that right there is the perfect example of using stress to better yourself, right? Lifting weights is stress. That's what it is. It's
Yeah.
you're stressing the muscles. You're tiring them out. You're breaking them down so they rebuild and they get stronger. So now you get hit or you trip and fall or you run into a tree or something. You can now, because you put in the little stress before, you're able to handle the bigger stress later. Right? It's the
Right.
same kind of principle. It's all about
Well, the
just
principle,
building and building and building to handle the big stuff.
of course, and the principle repeats itself. I mean, a good example I used to find myself trapped in, like I didn't want to say no. Like I'm always like, all right, and it's like a nice guy principle or whatever. But
Yeah.
I'm like, I want to do more. I want to handle more. I want to be able to do these things. I'll help this. I'll help that. Whatever. And so then I would like get all these things, and I'm pulled in a million different directions, and I'm not getting anything done, and they're all stressing me out because I'm not getting them done, and then I'm trying to get them done, and that's not congruent with who I am because I want to finish things, and that's like blah 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 blah. Right? This again, there's the cycle, right?
Sure.
And so I started to realize, okay, again, even in stress, you're choosing it. You're not a victim. I chose these things, these situations that added too much stress. So what do? I sit down, I look at all of them. Which one of these need to go? Who do I have to tell? Look, I overcommitted. I made a mistake. I'm getting
I
out
can't do
now
it. Yeah.
too much because I don't want to go down the road even farther and then really screw this up because it's not fair to you or me, right? I made the mistake. I got to pull back. I can't do this. Then, oh my God, the weight gets lifted. And then you're like, holy shit, I got 2 or 3 things that are mine now that I'm focused on that can be very stressful at times if I choose to make them stressful. Or, I can mediate that stress because I'm in control of the deadline. So if I know I need to have something done, instead of trying to kill myself because it's for somebody else, all right, like you're like, oh my God, I have to get this done in a
Yeah.
day.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, wait a second. I want to spend more time with my daughter, so I'm giving myself 3 days to do this. It's still stressful. I still have to finish it, right? I mean, there's ways that you can mediate this stress to
Yeah.
where it's not going to break you down because when you have all of it, it's too much. You're going to get run down. Not going to sleep, then blah blah blah. Then the nervous system suffers, and the immune system suffers, and then you're sick, and everybody's like, the immune system, the stress is the number one killer, whatever. Well, hold on. Your inability to manage the stress is the number one killer. Your inability
Mm.
to the force of the stress is the number one killer because you're not putting the system. I think this is a good important thing with training too.
Sure.
Our goal with training is to put the system in the most ideal position to allow it to adapt, to become stronger, healthier, and more capable. Right? To
I
put
would
it
agree with
in
that. Yeah.
put you or your being in an ideal environment to then gain an advancement, right? To go farther on that continuum towards health, right? Because we're trying to do that, right? Instead of just going out there willy nilly doing dumb stuff, right? Or if that's even a thing. So it's the same when it comes to success or all these other things. Is you're trying to put yourself, right? If someone's like, oh, stress is the number one killer. Well, that person didn't put themselves in a position to where they are then bettering their lives and moving closer to that continuum of success. Does that make sense what I'm saying? Because you're in control of that position. You're in control of where you've placed yourself.
Yeah, I think what you're saying is it's not necessarily that stress made them unhealthy or stress killed them. It was their inability to manage it. It was yes, there's stress coming at everyone from all different angles. Like you can't shield yourself from it, but it's the inability to take in the information, process it, and then go about it in a productive manner instead of getting constantly overwhelmed and drowning in it, which then in turn makes you unhealthy. Right? Is that kind of like what you're trying to say?
That's exactly it. It's the inability to adapt to it. It's not the stress, right? It's never going to be the stress. You've chosen those stresses, right? Like a great example is the news. I don't fucking listen to it. I don't have it. I don't have any way to, I didn't even know there was new fires. But because I believe in a very different system.
You didn't even know there was gender reveal parties.
I didn't. Right now, I actually thought it was like a
like coming out of the closet thing?
Yeah. And so I was like, then I got corrected in the thread. That's not what it was. And I was like, very interesting. Learned a lot today.
It's a big day for Doc.
Big day. Big day. But I think that there's all of that stress.
Sorry, I'm picturing you thinking like, oh, like someone's having a party because they're a woman now, I guess. Like, is that
like you know my thought process. And I'm just like, okay, like if that's cool. I don't know if I would throw a party if that was my thing. That's fine. Like,
it's hilarious. It's new parents wanting to get stuff.
It's so weird. Yeah. It's so weird. But anyways, I digress. So the stress of these things, the news, all this stuff, you're choosing to have them in your life. They are absolutely stressful. Are they making you better? Are you becoming healthier from listening to them? Probably not, right? So I've made the choice to take all of that out of my life. I don't have social media. I don't have the news. I don't have CNN, cable, any of that. My stress level, because of not having that, I literally can go into a room and it's palpable the stress everybody else is under from just listening to that. Yeah. Like I go to the airport and it's like funneled through the speakers, like wow, and I'm like looking around, you can feel everybody's stress, and I'm like, bro, I'll lick the floor. Like what? When I was a kid, dude, I grew up being dared to lick the floor in the gym where we ate lunch all the time. Like someone was licking the floor every day. Like, dude, you won't do it. You won't keep your tongue on the floor for 10 seconds. Yeah, I will. What? Like now all of a sudden we can't even touch anything. Like, but anyways, you see my point here is that like I've taken these stories a lot about me today. I don't know about gender reveal parties. I lick the floor when I'm like 7. Don't tell me I can't do something. But anyways, it's all it's how you manage the stress. It's what the stress is. It's where it's coming from. Is it necessary? Isn't it necessary? If it's not, get rid of it. Like quit being afraid. Like your family, mine's not. Well, sometimes, but I manage it. Is probably one of your biggest stressors. Okay, not yours. I didn't mean you. I meant
no. I know you. General you.
General. Most people's family is one of their massive stressors. I bet family, social media, news are probably your top 3 stressors. You're in control of all 3.
Throw a job in there.
Job, yeah. Well, I love what I do, so I guess I don't think about that. So, and then job, right? But again, so we just named 4 things. You're in control of all spouse. I mean, we probably keep going.
That's family.
Family, right? Every single thing I just mentioned, you're in complete control of, right? This comes back to like you can't be the victim. Like you're not happy at your job, make a plan, see it through, right? The news is probably stressing you out. Just turn the goddamn TV off. I fixed it.
Dude, you know what I just don't understand? Like, have you ever seen these people that like turn on the news and they watch it like religiously every day? But like by the end of it, they're like screaming, they're yelling at the television. Yeah. Like there's no one else in the room. You're yelling at a box. Yeah. Like what? What is going on? Like I'm not anti, so I'm not anti-news because I think it depends on the news, obviously, because I think it's good to know what's going on, but for that purpose, like it's good to get information to be aware of what is happening.
Sure.
News today, especially mass media, all that bullshit, is entertainment, and you can even tell because most of them are registered as entertainment companies,
Right.
which again should be your first tell. Like this is not great. Like, it's just reality TV. All it is reality TV for not teenage girls. Like that's essentially what it is.
I mean, it's interesting to me that it's like, well, there's something wrong with you if you listen to it and it creates and elicits a response. That should be a very telltale sign that there's something you got to work on inside, because basically nothing that is said to me should ever be personal. Like I say something and I said it, whatever. How you interpret it or feel about that is literally detached from me. That's not right. People don't understand this. This is a massive concept in and of itself. Whatever I say is what I said. My beliefs doesn't matter. Whatever. It has no bearing or effect over you. People are going to argue that. Whatever. We're talking about the fundamental principle, right?
Well, people allow it to have a function over them. Yeah.
Right. And but again, don't be the victim. Choose to. It's fine. Like whatever I say, whatever I do, you either accept it, like it, and talk about it, or you don't. It has it. But it's said and it's done. Your reaction to it is your reaction to it, not mine, right? And so that's the same thing. Like when you watch the news and you watch these people, you've never met this person. It's their opinion. Like I said all the time, what gives a man or woman the right to have dominion over my opinion? They don't. Like I'm a free-thinking human being. Whoever created the laws, whoever created the rules, all of these things, they were what I am. So I want to choose mine. I understand these are hierarchy principles and things, but the point is,
it's diving into like society hierarchy and stuff, which might be another show.
Maybe be in control, right? So we've turned your TV off. There you go. We got 4 stresses. Turned your TV off. One of them's gone. You hate your job. We'll figure out what the hell you want to do and make a plan.
Get a new one.
Got rid of that.
Did a whole 5-episode cast about it.
Right, whole 5 episodes. Just watch them through it. You'll be good. Social media is easy as the TV. Just do it. Delete it. Or I should do this. Delete it. Right? Delete the social media. Now you're down to 1, which is your family, which may be the most hardest to manage. But you have to be very, very clear with yourself. Is it your wife? Is it you? Is it them? What's going on? Are they negative? Are they asking too much of you? And then just be honest. I got to back off. I got to take care of me. I got to take care of my family. This is what I got to do. This decision I'm making. Again, if they don't like it, that's their decision on how they feel about it, right? You owe nobody anything, right? One of the most powerful things I've ever heard. I don't want to screw it up. Dang it. You weren't put on this earth to meet anyone else's needs, and no one else was put on this earth to meet your needs, excluding your children to a very specific age.
I dig that. Yeah. And I think too many people don't understand that or don't want to understand that.
Right.
Like everyone. So, and my biggest thing is, look, I'm not going to say that I'm not a hypocrite. I'm sure there are plenty of things that I've said and done differently. Like everyone's a hypocrite in some sense, I believe.
Yeah, but to me, a hypocrite, real quick, depending on where you're at in life, like if you say it today and then flip your opinion tomorrow and then flip it back to the same one the next day, sure, it's a hypocrite. Yeah. But if you said something a year or 2 ago and now you're saying it from a different position because you spent 2 years growing as a human being,
so that's to me, that's changing your opinion, right? Based on new information, which is exactly to me completely different.
Right. Okay.
What I was talking about is. Well, no, but what you were saying, that quote that you just said is like you weren't put on this earth, for what was it?
You weren't put on this earth to meet someone else's needs, and they weren't put here to meet your needs.
Exactly. So I think people take the first part to heart, and I think people ignore the second. And I think that's where we get into this whole,
That's funny. That's true.
It's true. It's 100% true. People will swear by that first part, I'm a free American. I'm a free human being. I can do what I want. Blah blah blah. Don't tell me what to do. And as soon as someone else does something that they don't like, what are you doing? Fuck you. Blah blah blah. Like, well, okay. So yes, you got half of it. Now we gotta bring the whole thing together now.
Right, right.
But this is and now and just to recircle back, this is why going back to like the news and everything, why it's entertainment is because that's all it is. All it is essentially let's take Republican and Democrat. Here's my message. Here's my message. We disagree. You're an idiot. You're an idiot. Blah blah blah. Like that's all it is.
Right.
And that's why like I sit here and whatever side of the aisle you're on, like why do you tie yourself to these like parties and like
weird, man?
Why
weird.
Like right. So people identify with this so much to the point where they're calling like people that they've known for years that they've been friends with, and like friendships are being ruined, and like because again it's because people can't take that second part of the quote to heart. They take the first part. It's very easy to do the first part. And that's what it is. It's easy to do the first part because, yeah, of course I can do what I want, blah, blah, blah. I'm a free person. Right. It's very hard to do the second.
And that's where growth should come in, right? And that's where the stress should come in. And that's where you should challenge yourself, right? And it's like, I really try to be like, all right, why am I feeling this way towards what that person is saying? Why does it make me feel that way? Like, all right, I watched, I don't know, 10 minutes of the debate, right?
Yeah, that was bad.
Pretty hilarious quotes in there, just thrown.
I went to bed as soon as just shut up, man. Like I heard that and I was just like,
but it's just like
it made a hell of a meme. It was all over. You don't have social media, but it's made great memes.
I've heard, and my favorite was something like Trump. He was like, "You wouldn't know how to finish," and Trump was like,
"Dude, I didn't see that. I didn't see that until days later, and I had no idea how that slipped through the cracks because I've seen them all, and that to me was, oh, he doesn't know how to let other people finish. You'd be surprised. I was just like, what?
Dude, Chrissy and I started laughing out loud. I was like, oh my God. But not to digress, the whole point of it is it was hilarious. And well, I'm not saying it's how those things should run, but it was fun.
No, so, all right, look, removing it from the fact that these are two people vying for the most powerful office on earth, yes, was fucking hilarious.
Right.
Adding that small detail back in, where these are two people running for the most powerful office on earth, it's fucking terrifying.
Right. Well, that's like I'm like watching this and I'm like I can't do it anymore. Turned it off. Yeah. Then I found myself like asking myself later, like, why did I have the reaction that I did? And it was like, well, because they're idiots and they're participating in a system that I don't agree with. And it was like, okay, but that still shouldn't have, like, I should be okay with that, right? So, like, I had to step back, and I used it as an opportunity for growth, right?
Yeah, but I don't think you did anything wrong in the sense that, no, all you did was you found something that you found distasteful, and you just kind of remove yourself from it. Like, you didn't yell at your television. You didn't throw it out the window.
Right. But I went internal and asked myself why.
Oh, and I think that's
an opportunity. Like, can I become better from this? Like, can I separate myself from what just happened? And I did, and I slept like a baby.
Yeah, I didn't miss a wink of sleep. Head hit the pillow at 9:16, out by 9:17.
Right.
Done.
Always. I'm the same way, dude.
So I wanted to bring something up to you, just because we had kind of like both briefly mentioned it a while back, and having to do with stress, and you had mentioned being a victim, and I think there's a lot, again, whether it's political, whatever, even just personal, there's a lot of victimization of not necessarily other people or other groups of people, but self-victimization. Oh, woe is me! Why does this happen to me? Blah blah blah. And I think I haven't like made any sort of like done any research, made any sort of connections. I'm just actually spitballing here, and I figured you'd have a decent opinion on this. I would have to believe that people who play into the role of the victim are just growing their own stress. Because now they're not taking any sort of active role whatsoever. It's everything's happening to me. Everything's affecting me. What was me? Why does this happen to me? Like there is no positive growth coming from this whatsoever.
No, but again, it comes back like we talk about every episode. There's general principles that surround all of us.
Sure.
Like the principle of that you're in control. Like it's a law of the universe. Like you're in control. You can, and you're choosing in that control. You've chosen to be the victim. You can choose the opposite. But when you choose the victim and you bring that in, you're piling insane unnecessary stress on yourself. I could probably look at that person, pick 20 different things, but we can get rid of these tomorrow. You don't want to, right? There's some people who just don't want to, which is fine because they become their literal identity now, who they are, and they can change it, but they most likely won't. Their identity has become that victim and they need it. It's literally a drug to them because it's not okay to feel good. Like if you were to take somebody like that, right? These extreme victims, which we're developing more and more of, which is terrifying. So hurry up and have children so that our kids can change this. Because I don't let her be a victim ever. So what's happening is this victim is creating this loop. If I were to take this person, and instantly, I had a magic wand, bippity boppity boo, they were happy. They literally wouldn't know what to do, how to handle it, and they would literally pull themselves back to that victim.
I was just going to say, they would find their way back down. Yeah.
Find their way back. This is exactly why bailouts don't work. This is exactly why giving people money doesn't work. The richest man in Babylon talks about it. All the money trickles through your hands and goes right back to the wealthiest people in the world because they understand the principles of wealth. Understand the principles of health and you'll have health. Understand the principles of wealth and you'll have wealth. Understand the principles of fitness and you'll have fitness, right? Everything comes back to principles. Understand the principles of success. You'll have success. There's principles that everybody follows, right? And so it's the exact same thing and you'll trickle right back because you didn't do the work. You didn't neurologically make it last. You didn't want to get yourself out of the gutter. It was easy, convenient, and you get attention there because we've developed a society that makes an insane amount of money off victims. An insane amount of money off victims. All the news is created by the victims. All the therapies are created by the victims. All the psychology and psychiatry is pretty much created through victims. I mean, you can go on and on and on. Everything is created by victims. Even social media has its own like things within that, right? Like everybody wants it to be this empowering thing, but come on.
No.
If it was so empowering, let's be honest. It's not. Like, let's just call it what it is. If it was super empowering, I'd be the first motherfucker to have it. I promise you that. And I don't have it. And again, I come back all the time to this quote. Lamborghini, why don't you run commercials? The people that watch TV can't afford our cars.
Yeah.
They're not our target market. The people that watch TV are not our target market. Okay, well then it's not making you super successful. I mean, I like, how else do you want me to cut that for you? You know, it is what it is. It's a $400,000 car. People who sit around and watch TV most of the time can't afford it. Are there people that watch TV that own Lambos? Of fucking course there are. That's not the point. And if you're that person, you're already the victim. Like, because you missed the whole point. You missed the principle. You know what I mean? So, anyways, I heard a successful guy say once, keep your head down and work really hard for 10 years and buy a couple Lambos. You'll feel better about yourself.
That's a good one.
I was like, I'll drink to that. So, anyways,
there's definitely like I said, it just the word popped in like a couple times here and there earlier, and there had to be. I knew that there had to be a connection just between victim adding stress, and you're right. Like people, it's that almost that self-fulfilling prophecy of like you get comfortable. Yeah, you get comfortable with a certain way of life, whether that be better or poorer. And no matter what happens, if you were that kind of person, like that's where you're going to end up again. And that's why, it is, you have to make a fundamental change here first.
Right.
Like you can, and again, we're talking about health, like you can want health for anyone, but you can't help them unless they want it for themselves.
Right.
I can't, I can't lose a bunch of weight because, so-and-so told me to. Like, I don't necessarily think like fat shaming works. I don't necessarily. Well, we can get into the whole like glorification of like big is beautiful and stuff, and that's wonderful if that's like what you want to do. But it's also
Super unhealthy.
it's dangerous.
Super unhealthy.
It's a dangerous mindset. And then I think that again, right there, is promoting a stressor that we don't necessarily don't necessarily need. We definitely don't need. Extra weight, extra body fat is stress on our body, on our heart, on everything.
All the time.
That we don't need.
24
Yeah, all the time. All the time.
Doesn't go away. Like, not good stress.
I've seen. I'm sure you have too. Like, have you seen like those X-rays of like someone who like a average height, weight human being, and then like a morbidly like obese one, and like the bones are like distorted and like they get thicker because they have to, but like they're like the knees like start to like the knees are like as big as my head, which is insane.
Yeah.
But yeah, dude, it's
well, that's a great example. The body's doing its best to adapt.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, look at that. You didn't think about that once. Your body did all of those unbelievable fucking things to try and fix the shit that you've been giving it. Imagine if you gave it good shit.
Yeah.
What would happen? If it can do that with bad shit, what can it do with good stuff?
Yeah.
Like, come on. I mean, it's unbelievable the potential that resides in you that no one knows. And here's the best part. You're the victim, and it sucks, and you're stuck in that rut, and whatever. It may take you 3, 4, 5 years to get out of it. No one wants to tell you that. I didn't change overnight. It took me forever to get out of that victim mentality. It took me forever to get to where I'm at right now. But oh my God, I own it. It's a part of my soul. It's who I am now. Like, this isn't fake. This is me.
Yeah.
Like, all the time.
And that's something else that people don't want to acknowledge is, you didn't get to where you are overnight. It's not going to change overnight. It's gonna be work. It's gonna take time, and parts of it are gonna suck, and it's gonna be hard, and you're not gonna like it. But you have to keep in mind, that end goal that you're shooting for, whatever it be. Whether maybe your end goal should be to just, not allow other people's opinions ruin your fucking day. That would be. Could you imagine if everyone on Earth dedicated themselves to just not letting other people's opinions affect their mood or ruin
the news would end. The news would literally end tomorrow. Like, there would be
it would have to go back to being actual news.
Right.
It wouldn't be this mockery of a reality show that we have.
Right.
But it would like politicized news would end because now we can't outrage people by saying the left said this, the right said that. Blah, 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 blah.
Yep.
No, it would have to go back to being like actual news where we're just being informed.
Yep. And it's like here's the two puppets we picked for you to pick from. So now pick from them. Like, because we chose for you. Like, I mean, when you really think about like what is like, you're getting mad that the right and the left, whatever they are, I don't even know which one's which. You're getting mad that the people they picked. Like, it doesn't even make sense. Like,
the people they told you to pick.
Yourself. Right. Like, you should be mad at yourself for voting for someone that you were told to vote for or pick from. Like,
we need the two-party American system needs to change. We need at least a third party. Honestly, we should have like 5 or 6 parties. Like, that way. What's up?
I'm not into the whole politics thing. But
no, neither am I. I hate it because it's sham. It's look.
Right. Yeah.
At the end of the day. And I'm talking about me personally. Now, I understand I'm a white, straight male. Not really much affects my life in general. Whether it's Donald Trump as president, whether it's Joe Biden as president, nothing is really going to affect me in the day-to-day. Now, again, that's my situation. For others, other people have different opinions and other experiences. I 100% understand that. But to me, that's one reason why I don't get overly into it. Like, do I think Donald Trump's a schmuck? Of course I do. Do I think Joe Biden is an old senile fool? Of course I do. Like, these are my options. Thanks, America.
Right. My thing is, first off, if anybody's listening, look up Jo Jorgensen. I think that's how you say her last name. She's amazing. She's a libertarian person. She's a baller.
This is our moment, man. Libertarians, rise up.
So there's that. But I think that that you said something there that like, oh, I saw it to way back when. I don't know. Somebody sent it to me, whatever. But it was like, it was three pictures of the hood, right? Like in the Bronx, I don't know, wherever, right? Three pictures of the hood. And it was like the hood under Clinton, same picture. The hood under Bush, same picture. The hood under Obama, same
Same
picture. And it
picture.
was like, what the fuck's wrong with everybody? Like nothing changed. You know, it was like
Because it's turned into, and I've heard this metaphor made with like sports and stuff. In ancient Rome, right? Yeah, in ancient Rome, they started the son of a bitch, gladiators in the arena, right? They did that to entertain, us, the poor peasant people,
yeah,
to take their minds, once a week, once a month, however much to take their minds off their problems. And that was just entertainment where everyone could go let loose, buy food, get drunk, whatever. That's what sports is, right? And that's kind of what politics is now. Like, it's, whoever wins this election, half the country is going to be outraged, the other half is going to be happy. And then we're all going to kind of go about our daily lives. And not much is going to change. Like, will some different bills be passed? Like, sure. Like, whatever. And again, you can argue different semantics, blah, blah, blah. But, like, for the day to day, for the average Joe Schmo American, is going to kind of continue as it was.
like
And yet we get so outraged. And here we go. Bring it back to straight. We get so overly outraged about all of this to the point where we're ruining families and ruining Thanksgiving. Uncle is drunk in the corner, ruining Thanksgiving because he's talking politics.
What he should be ruining Thanksgiving about is yelling at the Lions for sucking every year and putting on a terrible Thanksgiving game.
They have wasted Matt Stafford's career.
Oh my god, what a freaking phenomenal guy that just
Dude, Megatron quit. Dude, one of the best receivers in the game quit. He said, "Nah, I'm good." He quit when he was my age, right? 31, I think. So he quit. It was like if I was in the NFL now and I was just like, you know what, I'm done.
Well, not only that, in your prime, like when you probably had like 4 more years.
Well, obviously not me, but
I think what did you say in there? Another thing that it was about football. I think it's very interesting too. Again, we have brains because everything, principles, whatever. We have a brain that's designed for 20, 30, 40, 50,000 years ago, right? This thing. We lived in tribes. We had fucking phones. Like you had to walk however far to meet the next tribe if you were friends with them, or if you weren't, you didn't interact with them. But I promise you, you had no idea what was going on 7, 8 tribes away from you.
yeah.
Like, or whatever. Like you didn't know what was happening on the other side of the world because your brain's not designed to process that. Like how many people, again.
Well, look, and now we always know what's happening on the other side of the world or 7 tribes over. Right. Always. So it's just constant stimulus, constant stress, constant outrage.
Constant. And it's like the amount of people that got pissed about somebody hunting a lion. I heard all about that. Right? The amount of people that got pissed about that, it's like, why do you care? Why do you know? Why do you even know that? When you really ask, like, why? And is it relevant? Did it change your life at all? Yeah, because you let it. Right? But like what you don't ask, again, then just because I like hunting, so I'm gonna get on this. The guy who went there probably paid like $50,000 or $60,000 to hunt this thing, which gave that tribe that money, hunted it. Okay, yes, it was a trophy hunt because he killed this thing to bring it home. That tribe eats all of it. Every single piece of that animal the tribe eats. Now, the huge corporations that are trying to fuck Africa that they can't fend off, they have money now to fend them off and keep their land. So by not allowing lions to be hunted, you fucked that tribe because you and your beautiful loft that mom and dad paid for didn't like that a little poor lion died. Motherfucker was dying anyways because they were going to eat it. Don't be dumb.
Well, again, and that's
But you shouldn't have even known. You shouldn't have even known that was a thing, and it shouldn't have been in your brain. Brain wasn't designed to know.
Yeah.
Period.
And there's I think there's more to it than that, because I think people don't dive into things. People see a headline. People see, trophy hunter kills lion. And look, if I read that, I'd be like, oh, that's kind of shitty, man. Like, why are you hunting a lion? But then you don't dive into the fact that, all right, now this guy paid this tribe a bunch of money to, get medicine, whatever it is that they need, blah, blah, blah. This tribe's now eating said lion, so it's not really going to waste. I mean, does it make me feel uneasy about like shooting a lion? I don't think I'd personally do it. Would I condemn this guy to the gallows for it? Like, no, but but that's the thing, is people see a headline and that's it. It's headline, it's outrage. It's headline, it's hey, it's headline, it's blah, blah. No one actually dives in to figure out, you're like, all right, well, what's actually going on?
Right. And I say this all the time. If the media didn't tell you COVID was a thing, you would have gone about your day and you would have had no fucking idea. You would have had no idea. No idea. You thought the flu came early. Like, I promise. Like, I wish that there was a way. Like, maybe someday I'll build a time machine and I'll go back and be able to, like, not tell anybody and be like, oh my God, I was right. Look, no one knew. Like, I mean, it's just like, anyway. So if you detach, I didn't even know it was a thing until I was literally in a store and it was telling me to stand 6 feet away from people. And I texted Christy. I was like, what the fuck is going on here? Like, I don't know. Like, what do I care? Anyways, I digress. But the point is, you have a brain that's literally not designed to know what's going on in Russia. Or you would live in Russia.
Yeah.
So calm the fuck down. Not going to fucking nuke us. Everybody relax. Because if they were, they would do it and it'd be over with. Right? Or keep that threat, like the Cold War. Talk about the massive control that had over everybody's psyche. Like, everybody relax. There's a fallout from it. They don't want to die just as much as you don't want to die. Like, they're not dumb. I'm not speaking about just them. I mean, anybody.
Yeah.
Like,
no, everyone, yeah.
Like, I mean, I don't know. Turkey wants to launch a nuke. Well, we're going to launch them back. Then you all die. That's not, like, use logic. I don't know.
Rocco's getting pissed.
Because it's just people, again, it all comes back to victims. It all comes back to people not paying attention, not thinking things through, being reactive, not being in control of your emotions. Learn to dominate your emotions, control them, get them all going in the same direction to what it's going to give you the outcome you want. Don't be a victim of them. People get kicked all the fuck around. I learned that now. She's 3. She obviously she doesn't have it mastered now. She's 3, but I teach her, control your emotions. Understand it, experience what you're experiencing. It's okay to cry. Be in control of it, though. Feel it, do it, process it, own it. Right? Own it.
No, and people don't do that. Everything, because now everything, and this is why, like, a lot of the time, like, I don't want to get, like, back into political, but it's just, like, it's the thing. It's the thing for me where, like, when people start getting, like, political, I stop talking, because people don't actually want to have a conversation. They just want to, like, shout sound bites at you, and they just want to respond. And a lot of people, like, when I find I'm in a conversation with someone where people are just waiting for me to stop speaking so that they can respond, like, that's when I stop talking to that person, because, well, you didn't hear a damn word that I just said. You just waited for my lips to stop moving so you could just say something else. And, like, now we're not getting anywhere. And that, to me, is why we are in, again, there's a whole bunch of reasons why we're in the state that we're in, but that, to me, is one of the reasons why we are in this state of, like, why everyone's stress is so heightened, because everyone just needs to say something bigger and louder, and they don't really care what you have to say. They're just waiting for you to stop speaking so that they can yell something louder than what you just said. And it's just more, as opposed to, well, let me take, and I've had this conversation with people, like, Kristen's actually done this to me, where, like, she said a point that was counter to my point, and I didn't respond right away. And she's like, oh, like, you have nothing to say. I was just like, no, I'm processing what you just told me. I'm thinking about what you said, because there are parts of this that kind of make sense. So, like, I'm taking what you said. I might not agree 100% with it, but I'm thinking about it. I'm, taking in the information that you're giving me. And I don't think people don't do that. People just wait for you to shut up so they can say more.
Yeah, because I saw a meme, and that meme's got to be true.
Yeah.
Possibly be wrong. Like, it couldn't possibly be wrong. Give me a break. Like, it's
the fact that that's how a lot of people get their information, like, that was a big problem in the last election. Was like, that's why, like, Facebook had to, like, just start shutting shit down. Was because, like, people would just create a meme about, like, Hillary Clinton having children in her basement, and, like, people were just like, "See, she's the devil." I was like, "What?" I mean, look, it might be true, but I mean, if I'm getting it from Facebook, I'm gonna question it at the least.
Right. Oh my God. I mean, it's just like we've talked about it before. Maybe we have, I think, but it's like where I grew up. We remodeled a church into a home, and it has this, tool shed.
Did you really?
Yeah, yeah. I didn't show you pictures of that.
You must have, but I feel like I'm hearing this for the first time.
Okay, beautiful. Grew up on
that's awesome. Yeah.
100 acres, out in the woods, whatever. We had this tool shed that we've had forever, right? Now it's like painted red and it has no door and it doesn't latch or like nothing, right? And I'm like, this is the news. They go past the gorgeous house, all the beautiful land, and they go to the tool shed and they're like, this is where he grew up. It is where I grew up.
I lived over there.
You didn't turn around.
It's beautiful.
Huge 110-year-old church that got remodeled into a home.
Because that wouldn't feed your purpose. Like,
right. And it's like that is the news. Like, yeah. But they didn't lie. That is where I grew up, and that is our culture.
Yes. Technically, you are correct.
But you missed the other 98 acres that were behind you.
Gorgeous rolling hills and woods and
like that's the news. Like you missed it. So that's why it's like if you look at it through that lens, you're like, oh, that makes sense. That makes sense. But again, it's that stress, right? And I think another thing that we need to do real quick, just to bring again back to the stress, because I know we're kind of all over the place, but it really matters.
It's all relevant.
You have got to go outside. Like, the more you're inside, the more stress builds up. Like, you have to go outside.
Yeah.
You need to plan trips to the woods or to the beach or just
go hiking. Yeah.
Have to go outside.
We've talked about this. The book that I'm moving through slowly. I'm kind of hitting like a dry point. It's the two doctors, the two MDs, father son. Yeah. It's called son of a bitch. Brainwashed. That's what it's called. Brainwashed. It's a lot of talking about this. It's talking about the the relationship centers in the brain of like instant gratification, blah blah blah. Another part of it was talking about the healing power of nature and how there were like meta-analysis done of patients who healed in like your traditional hospital setting, white walls, curtain, cut off from nature, and then people who just had access to like a window with like a tree in the window, okay, or they brought like a plant into the room, right? And there was like a markedly different like percentage of like healing and speed of recovery.
Yep.
And whether it's the fresh air, the vitamin D, the sunlight, whatever it is, your connection to earth and nature and that stuff, it has a significant power.
I mean, and that's like the power is the energy, right? And like that's why look, if you need, I supplement with vitamin D. I mean, right now it's rained like every fucking day. I can't think this. I'm not really outside in the sun. Cool, so I'm supplementing with vitamin D, but that's not the same. You're not just getting vitamin D from the sun. You're literally getting energy. It energizes the cells, like energy that you can't get from 10 drops of vitamin C. Like it's not the same. People need to understand that. Like you still have to go outside. They've done crazy studies. I don't remember what the percentages were, but they were like astronomical, where it was like we made you sit and work, and then 10 minutes every hour you got up and walked inside. and your creativity increased by like 30 or 40%. Then we made you do that, and every hour you walked outside, your creativity increased by like 60% because you were outside. Then we did studies where like you did your work, and then you looked at a picture on the computer of a city landscape, and your creativity increased, but not that much, right? And then you looked at just a picture of nature, and it increased by like twice as much as it did with looking at a city landscape. Like then we made you go outside for like 30 minutes and I don't know what, like
Sure.
basically
Yeah.
nature. The end result was being in nature increased for just a few minutes, moving.
Yeah.
It increased your creativity by like 60 or 70%. What?
Yeah, man.
But yeah, I mean, anyways, yeah. So go outside. Again, another principle of life. Go outside.
Go outside.
but again, you're doing the stress of work. Then you're doing something else, which is walking, which we can consider stressful, outside in nature, breathing in air, giving yourself the tools, moving you on the continuum of health so that you can then handle the stress that you're asking yourself to do later, right? Put yourself in a position that allows you to adapt at a greater potential, right? Figure out what that is. Put yourself in that position.
Yeah. Or, you got some shitty stress, man. Change your mindset about it. You can control that.
You control all of it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And there's good and bad stress. I mean, but
Yeah.
we talked about all of them.
Well, there is, but I obviously, yes. Like, obviously, getting hit by a bus is bad stress. Like, right? Okay. But I think a lot of it, well, yeah, I mean, it was just the most obvious. Like, it was like, clearly this is not good. But again, circling back, I think a lot of it just comes down to how we view it. Like, yeah, getting, stressed out at my job because of deadlines and blah, 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 that's stressful. But how do you go into it? Like, are you going to view it as, I have another project to do, blah, 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 my boss is an asshole, I hate my job, blah, blah, blah. Or is it, this gives me an opportunity to provide a great life for my family and give my family what they want, what they need. Like, that's a very simple thing to change your mindset to. And maybe it doesn't make it great, but it makes it better.
100%.
And I think
things. Go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, and I think just that simple way of changing how you view some sort of stress, whether, it be negative or positive, whatever, you can change a negative to a positive, which is why I use the bus example, because there's really no good way of looking at getting hit by a bus.
There's two, well, even at then I would venture to say that you were at fault for getting hit by the bus. You probably didn't look both ways. I mean, I'll do this all day.
I mean, yes, but I still don't think that changes it from a negative stress.
But two, well, who knows? You may sue the city and get $20 million, and you may, whatever.
If you're alive.
The two things you said there. All right, so you're going to create more of whatever they are. If you believe, I hate this job, I hate my boss, whatever, you're projecting that out, and then it's going to get returned to you. Or you like it, then you're going to be the one who advances in that position and likes your job. I mean, that is it. That's everything. We talked about that before. And there was something else you said that was super awesome. I don't remember, but it was
that
like
a lot, so I don't know.
Just say super awesome. But it's just in alignment with everything. Like the stress, it's going to be good or it's going to be bad. It's how you interpret it. It's what you want from it, and like lean into it, right? Like it's okay. I mean, most of the time, again, I would come back to stress. Potentially can be your being, your body, whatever. Like if you have financial stress, it's probably the universe being like, "Hey, man, let's get this fixed. Like, fix it. Like, like it's trying to give you all these signs, like, oh my God, fix it, fix it, fix it. More money is not how you fix it. You fix it by fixing the concepts and the beliefs and how you handle it, and then more comes. I mean, I can go on and on about this stuff. I mean, because it all comes back to the same principles of being in control, not being a victim, understanding what you're doing, lean into it. And again, if it's bad stress and you don't want to be in your job, lean into it and come up with a solution. Don't run away from it. You run away from it, it's just going to chase you. It's like this. I mean,
You can't. I have no basis to say this, no facts or whatever, but I don't think you can run away from it.
oh no, it'll get you.
Because if you're at a point where you're just running away from stress and trying to avoid it, and running and hiding, like then you've already reached this place where you've created this mindset. You're probably already in that victim mindset because you're not coming out and meeting anything head on. So you're already in this victim space, which means that no matter where you go, you're going to find other stressors to create yourself into that victim state again.
Because you're literally choking your soul off. Your soul doesn't want to be a victim. You're literally choking it off.
Of course not. No one wants to be. Just like, well, I don't want to say no one wants to be, because I do think people actually want to be. Some people. But it's the same thing with...
To me, that stress that they're feeling, what they're feeling is literally their soul screaming for life. And they just are choking it off. Like, they're like, no, and it's like, fuck you. I mean, I remember the anxiety and excitement.
Mm.
I talked about this before. They've done the studies of the pathways and all the blah, 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 right?
Oh, right. It's like the same thing. It's just how you interpret it.
Yes, 100% the exact same. So when you're getting ready for your football game or your work or whatever, and you're having anxiety, well, no, I'm excited about this. Get it all going in the same direction.
Yeah.
Like, anxiety's victim and fear. Excitement is power and fun. Like, good. Feel them both.
Yeah. I wish I understood that in high school. I would have been a D1 baseball player.
Yeah. But see, now here's the positive of the YouTubes is people can
now they can. Yeah. The YouTubes.
Like, I remember I had LimeWire, and I was like, cool. Dude. If I download this song now, in 7 days, it will be downloaded, and I'll be able to listen.
And you'll give your computer AIDS.
Yeah. Yeah, but I'll have the song.
That was right? I remember, right, Napster was the first one.
Yeah.
I think I started getting into Napster like right as like it got shut down. And then it like made a comeback, but you had to like pay 50 cents a song, and there was no way I was doing that. Then what the hell did you just say? LimeWire, that was a thing. And then I used like Kazaa for a while. Do you remember that one? Kazaa?
No, I did LimeWire.
There was a couple of them. Then I figured out ways where like you could just like rip the audio from YouTube and like save it as like an MP3. Yeah, I did that for a while too. But yeah, dude. So real quick question before we sign off, just having to do with stressors. I talked about this with I told you I talked to Emily from Life University today earlier on a different podcast, my other podcast.
Yeah.
Anyone who's listening, check it out. She's a brilliant young lady, doctor. So we're talking about like postpartum depression, giving birth, blah blah blah. Mm-hmm. Now, if you could, obviously anatomically you cannot give birth, but if you could, would you?
Would I give birth?
Yeah.
Well, first off, if you want to do a thing about like the postpartum depression, Christy and I are pretty good with that and know a lot about that.
We can, we'll put it in the doc.
Okay. Because it's how the birth is delivered and why they get the postpartum depression. It's actually not a natural thing. You have a whole system to defend against that. So we could talk about that. But would I give birth? I mean, I guess to me, that's a question of like, if it was part of nature, like if it was what it was, like if I grew up.
Yeah, so I'm not saying like we have this technology to give you a uterus and make you able to have children. I'm just saying like if males were able to give birth, would you?
I guess if someone knocked me up, yeah.
No, I said yeah too. So like, no, the only reason I asked is she kind of like put me on the spot, and she was like, "Oh, like not even like on purpose." She was just like, "Well, you can't do this, blah blah blah." Like, would you? And I was just like, "Yeah, I think I would," because I mean, I've always like been fascinated by the human body and like what it's capable of doing. Right. Like, that's why I got into strength training, blah blah blah, like pushing the body to its limits. And even what we talk about with stressors, adapting, overcoming. Right, we take the obese person, how their bones adapt just to try and like keep them in some sort of semblance of health. Yeah, no, I think I would. Because to me, that's like the epitome of what the human body can achieve. It's
No, it
conceiving,
is.
holding, and giving birth to life. So I was just like, yeah, I'm pretty sure I would. I
It's
might not
unbelievable.
enjoy the actual process, but yeah.
Yeah, but I think that people don't enjoy the actual process because they're told not to enjoy the actual process. Like if you look back, if you read you probably don't want to read it, but whenever it comes time for you guys to have kids, I want you to read for real. Read the continuum concept. Anybody
Okay.
listening to have kids, read it. It's phenomenal. Like on how it's actually designed and how we're supposed to have children and what happens and like there's a doctor that she talks about. Like I believe with these tribes in Africa, like they they give the mother and the midwife they leave, right? They go out into nature, the savannah, wherever the heck they're at, right? And the mother moves. It's like it makes me want to cry thinking about it because I have a kid now. The mother moves and she dances and she sways and she does this whole thing in the process of giving birth, right?
Mm-hmm.
Gives birth and they come back to the tribe. And now that mother teaches the entire tribe her son or daughter's birth dance, what
Okay.
she did in labor, right? That's that child's thing, right? Now, when that child departs someday, 50, 100 years later, that entire tribe gets together and they all know it and they do that dance.
Holy
Like,
shit.
that's dope as fuck. Like,
Yeah.
that's cool, right? That's birth. That's life in both aspects. Like,
Dude, that's also like getting into like community and stuff. Like, that's
right.
shit you don't see here, like at all.
No. We've pathologized a normal human experience. We've made having a child a pathology,
Mm.
meaning a disease, basically. Like
Yeah.
you're plagued with this disease. You can't do it. You're not strong enough to do it without medicine.
Medical intervention. Yeah.
What? You've been around for like 100 years. We've been doing this for hundreds of thousands, debatable, whatever you want to believe, thousands. It doesn't matter. We've been doing it a long time without you, right? And I have my whole theory on a lot of this stuff, but a lot of stuff that's actually factual. But I mean, to me, the greatest example that there is an innate potential latent within you that is wanting to express life is giving birth to a child. You took a sperm and an egg, and then in 9 months, you literally created perfect life. And you never thought about it once, and it did that with like probably shit food, like
Yeah.
tacos or like whatever, right?
with,
Like
with a McChicken.
right. Like, are you kidding me? Like it did that. That's
Yeah.
incredible. Real quick before we sign off, I got to see if I can find this quote that I saved that I was
While,
just
while you're looking, I'll just say something else that I heard. I have no idea if it's true or not, but if it is, it's pretty fucking fascinating. Um, I think a lot of people have this concept of like, it's the fastest swimmer when it comes to sperm, fastest swimmer that fertilizes the egg or whatever. I heard that that's actually not the case. That it's
interesting.
the egg that actually rejects sperm and chooses the one that's correct. Now,
I
again, I haven't looked into it. I don't know if it's factually true, but it's something that I heard. And based off of nature and, how, if you look at nature, like, females are always the one like who are courting the males, right? The males are vying for their attention, and the female chooses. So to me, I heard that and I was just like,
perfect
that kind
alignment.
of makes sense, right?
No, it does. I mean, and it's like so. I say all the time, like women are like this whole like the fact that like women are like they're suppressed or whatever, blah blah blah. Like you're living in the victim mentality because
Mm-hmm.
you guys are fucking badasses. Like period. Like you give life. Like and so I always had like when we talked about that another day how women
Sure.
are just fucking badasses and way better than dudes. But this sums all of it, right? Like I'm going to sum it up in this. So, and again, I didn't look this up. This was sent to me. I would imagine it's true because it has. It might not be, but if it's not, the statement that this guy says is true. But William Goldwyn, British novelist and playwright and poet from 1911 and 1993. Don't know if it's true. Don't know if he said it, but this is the quote, and this is what's awesome. I think women are foolish to pretend they're equal to men. They are far superior and always have been. Whatever you give a woman, she will make greater. If you give her sperm, she will give you a baby. If you give her a house, she will give you a home. If you give her groceries, she will give you a meal. If you give her a smile, she will give you her heart. She multiplies and enlarges what is given to her. So if you give her any crap, be ready to receive a ton of.
No, I don't know if that's the guy who said it or whatever, but I have 100% heard that quote before, and
But
it's
the essence of
it's
that is true.
hilarious. Of course it
It's
is.
hilarious, but it's true.
Yeah.
Like anything I do, Christy always makes it better. I'm like, God damn it. But that's why we're a good team, right?
Yeah.
Like your wife is the most important business decision you will ever make in your entire life. Like people, like my goal, I had someone tell me once that my daughter was going to compare every man she dated to me for the rest of her life. And to me, it was like, game on, motherfucker. Because you're never going to compare. Like, you're not going to. Like, that's the point. And some people are like, oh my God, that's terrible. You're setting her up for this and that. No. Would you just randomly give money away to somebody? If this is the
Yeah.
most important business decision you're ever going to make in your life, she's going to make the best one or she's going to be in business by herself. Period. Right? It set the bar so high that she demands excellency in who she's with instead of all these other people out there that don't.
Yeah. Why would anyone criticize that? Like, why would you want to set your daughter up to like settle? It doesn't make any sense. Yeah.
But literally, we have developed a society to set you up for settling.
Well, yeah, and that's a whole other thing. I mean,
We could go on and on. This is a good one, but we should be just.
I know, right? We should go through this like tomorrow and just be like, all right, episode, just write them down.
We should. Awesome.
All
All right,
right, man. Yeah, this was a good one. I thoroughly enjoyed this. So it was nice seeing you. I haven't seen you in 2 weeks, so I'm sorry I'm gonna miss. I'm sorry I'm gonna miss you this weekend. I know, but
making adult decisions in
daddy
life.
things. That's okay. I completely understand. Anyway, I'll miss you, and I will see you next week, man.
Perfect, man.
Take it easy.
All right, I'll see you.